You are standing in front of your water heater right now, and it just went cold. The shower ran lukewarm 3 days ago. Now there is nothing but ice water. You call a plumber. He arrives, looks at the tank for 30 seconds and says, 8 years old, it is done. 8 years. Your warranty said 10 to 12. Here is what nobody tells you. 8 years is the design win, not the accident. Now, I want you to sit with this for a moment. I have spent 23 years installing water heaters in homes and commercial buildings. My father did the same work before me in the 70s and 80s. He taught me one thing early. There are 2 kinds of water heaters in the world. The first dies on schedule. The second outlasts the house. Today, I am going to show you exactly which one plumbers install in their own homes, and why your standard 40-gallon tank is already losing the battle the day it ships. I will show you the 3 commercial-grade heaters I trust, and one hidden component that means the difference between 8 years and 15. But stay with me, because near the end I will show you the sediment buildup that kills 80% of tanks before their time, and the ritual plumbers do twice yearly that nobody teaches homeowners. That ritual alone adds 7 years of life, not maybe 7. First, let me show you what you are looking at when you kneel down and turn that tank around. The moment you replace this unit, you are making a choice that nobody framed for you clearly. A builder-grade 40-gallon from the big box store costs $800 installed. A commercial-grade 40-gallon from a plumbing contractor costs $1,300. $500 more. Over how many years does that math break? A commercial tank lives 15 to 20 years. Your builder-grade tank lives 8 to 10. Do the math. 500 spread over 15 years is $33 a year. The commercial heater saves you $1,200 in energy efficiency and lifespan. But the real difference is not in the size. It is in 3 things: the anode rod, the dip tube, and the drain valve. The anode rod is a sacrificial magnesium stick inside the tank that corrodes instead of the steel. Builder-grade rods are thin, 3/4-inch diameter, maybe 15 inches long. Commercial rods are thick, 1 1/4 inches, and some tanks have 2. When that rod is gone, the tank rusts from the inside out in months. The cheaper heater's rod is depleted by year 6. You never knew it existed. A plumber replaces it immediately on installation, then every 2 to 3 years after. You probably will not. That is the gap. That is why theirs last and yours does not. Now that you understand what kills a builder-grade tank by year 8, here is the decision point. You can replace it with another 8-year unit, or you can step sideways into something plumbers choose for themselves. I installed my first heat pump water heater in my own garage in 2014. It was a Rheem ProTerra, 50 gallons, and I paid $1,800 out of pocket. My father thought I was insane. A heat pump water heater does not generate heat like a resistance coil does. It moves heat from the air around it, the same way your refrigerator pulls cold from nothing. The compressor cycles, the refrigerant flows, and thermal energy transfers into your water. It is roughly 3 times more efficient than the electric tank I had just ripped out. That efficiency difference is measured in something called UEF, Uniform Energy Factor. A standard electric tank scores about 0.9. My ProTerra hits 3.8. The mathematics is simple. I saved $550 that first year on my electric bill. $1,200 over a decade and a half lifetime. Now here is the catch, and I will tell you plainly. The upfront cost is hard to swallow. A quality HPWH costs $1,200 to $1,500 for the unit alone. A builder-grade tank costs $300. Most homeowners stop reading right there. But the federal tax credit changed that equation. The Inflation Reduction Act gives you 30% back, up to $2,000. Many utilities add another $200 to $800 in rebates. Suddenly that $1,800 ream costs you $600, maybe $700 out of pocket. You are not paying more than the cheap tank anymore. It lives longer, 13 to 15 years compared to 8. The tank itself gets an anode rod just like any steel tank, and yes, you still maintain it the same way. But the air heat pump runs cooler, it does not corrode as fast, and the whole assembly sits quieter in my garage, about 45 decibels. Now, here is where most people miss the real decision. A tankless heater costs less up front, but it hides a maintenance trap. That trap is the reason plumbers like me choose the hybrid instead. I will show you what that trap is and how pros avoid it right after this. And now, the part that separates someone who replaces their water heater twice in a lifetime from someone who barely thinks about it at all. So the heat pump saves you money, but it still dies without the maintenance I showed you. Now I want to talk about the unit that seems to solve everything, the tankless heater. You turn on the tap, the water heats instantly, no tank, no waiting, no sediments settling at the bottom. It sounds perfect. Most people think it is. Here is what I did not tell you in 2016 when I installed a Navion NPE in my garage. The endless hot water promise depends on one thing plumbers do twice yearly that you almost certainly do not. Inside that tankless unit is a heat exchanger, a tightly coiled copper tube no thicker than your thumb. Water rushes through at very high temperature, heating as it goes. The problem is this: hard water carries calcium and magnesium. Heat accelerates mineral precipitation. Scale builds up on the copper walls. A layer thin as a dime, 1/16 of an inch, cuts efficiency by 30%. The burner works harder, gas consumption rises, the exchanger ages. I have pulled units from hard water homes that looked like concrete pipes inside. Most homeowner manuals bury the descaling procedure in the back, labeled professional service only. So most homeowners never do it, and the unit dies in 8 to 12 years instead of 20. Here is what I do in spring and fall, every single year. I attach a pump to the cold inlet service valve and the hot outlet service valve. I run undiluted white vinegar through the heat exchanger for 90 minutes. The acid dissolves the calcium carbonate. The pump pulls it all out. I also clean the inlet filter screen. Sediment gets trapped there too. Total cost of materials, $30 to $40. A professional service runs $150 to $350. But here is the part that matters. A neglected unit voids the warranty. Rinnai will not touch it. And once the scale pits the copper, you replace the entire heat exchanger or the whole unit. $500 to $900 gone. Or you get the cold water sandwich, that burst of cold water between hot draws. That is scale telling you the heat exchanger cannot flow enough to trigger the burner. You are watching the promise fail in real time. The descaling procedure is not optional. It is the mechanism that keeps the endless part true. Twice yearly. Mark it on your calendar the moment the unit is installed. Now, here is where even the descaling ritual reveals its limit. Because there is one other step plumbers never skip, a ritual so simple that most people miss it entirely. This one costs $15 and doubles the lifespan of every water heater you will ever own. With the descaling done on your tankless unit, I want to show you the ritual that changes everything. This is the $15 annual flush, the single practice that doubles the life of any water heater you own. You are standing at the base of your tank on a spring morning, hose in hand. The ritual has 3 parts, and plumbers never skip any of them. First, turn off the cold water supply and set your thermostat to pilot, or flip the breaker if electric. This prevents the heating element from running dry, which destroys it in seconds. Now open that drain valve at the base, the 3-4-inch hose bib where sediment collects. You will see water pour out, brown at first, then clearer as you drain. That brown is calcium carbonate and magnesium, the same limescale choking your kettle. It sits on the burner like a blanket, forcing heat to work harder. The burner runs longer, the tank bottom weakens, popcorn sounds start. 1/2-inch layer of sediment cuts efficiency by 25%. I have measured this. Drain until the water runs clear, then close the valve. Second, reopen the cold supply briefly and let it stir the last sediment, then drain again. I call this the stir and flush. Most people skip it, don't. Third, refill the tank completely before restoring power. Dry firing kills an element instantly. Here is what I tell every homeowner I meet. Plumbers do this once a year, always on the same date. I tie mine to daylight saving, spring forward, spring flush. The drain valve you have is likely plastic and will eventually seize or crack after sitting unused for years. Spend $15 upgrading to a brass ball valve now. It will open and close smoothly for the next decade. 1 flush per year in soft water areas, twice yearly if your water is hard, anything above 7 grains per gallon. Look back at everything we have covered: the anode rod, the dip tube, the heat exchanger scale. All 3 heater types, the commercial tank, the hybrid heat pump, the tankless, they all depend on this one ritual. This is why your builder-grade heater dies at 8 years and a plumber's heater lives for 15. The difference is not the heater. The difference is what you do with it after you bring it home. When you hear that rumbling next month, you will know exactly what it means: sediment calling for help. Go drain it, upgrade that valve, mark your calendar. Tell me in the comments, when was the last time you flushed your water heater, or have you never done it? I read every comment, and I want to know what you find when you open that drain valve for the first time.